signature and welcome to our Tuesday office meeting. First of all, I want to announce that we do have celebrities in the house. First of all, we have Chicago Titles here in force, or in mass. And then we have a representative from Ticor Title. Jerome's here too. Okay, wants and needs. Who needs to sell a house? Who has a house they need to buy? Tyson.
Funny. All right, so I got a couple. We got a house out in Henderson, almost Cadence. It's listed at 550. Actually had an appraisal at 574. Solar will be paid off. It's also assumable loan. It is VA at 2.75. Prefer to stay VA so they can keep their entitlement. We also got something out on the east side, single family, 3 stories, listed at 320, 1,500 square feet. And a house right by the Green Valley office, actually, 420, single story, 1,300 square feet, not an age restricted.
Thank you, Tyson. Anybody else have something they need to sell? I'm rushing.
Good morning. I have 2 properties coming on the market. One is in Villa Bonita Estates, over 3,000 square feet, 2 stories, 3 bedroom, going at, what did we decide, Carla? $750, and one of the bedrooms actually turned into a closet, so it's a woman's dream. And then my other one's going to be in Heritage at Cadence in the 55 plus community, the 1,400 square foot model, going at $415.
Thank you. Anybody else? Andrew.
Two individual pieces of commercial property. They're storage units, 17 by 50. They'll hold large Prevost buses. We've had some interest from F1 in renting them, but it's owned by an estate, and the estate doesn't want to rent them. And get this, 0% interest if you pay cash. They're $189 each.
Okay, Jerome.
Hey guys, I have a buyer I'm working with. They're moving from Hawaii. They're looking for a 450 and under if they have RV parking, a bigger backyard, 500 if they're horses, if a horse property. So it's a buyer. If you guys have any listings coming up, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, and Beta.
One house in Summerlin. It's going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story, 89143 at 550, right above 1,700 square feet. And then have a condo that's going to be vacant by the end of this month. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, right around 900 square feet at 215. It's just expired.
Nice. Okay, yay, Beta. Beta is super diligent about his prospecting. Always shows up looking very professional, ready to go the minute he gets somebody hot. Okay, next up, Shelly from Prosperity Mortgage.
Thank you. Hey everyone. Happy Tuesday. Morning. All right, I am going to share with you a tool and resource that we actually helped our clients to move out of their home. How many of you guys know what the golden handcuffs of real estate are? Not one? Oh, really? Not one? The rate? Why would that be a golden handcuff? Yes. How many of you have heard from homeowners today, great job, Tyson, that do not want to move because they've got a below market interest rate, say 3.75? Okay. That is the golden handcuffs of real estate, right? Because they are stuck. They're stuck even though some of those homeowners may have had a baby and they are needing to buy or move up into an additional bedroom, even though maybe they've got empty nest syndrome now and their kids are away from college and now they have too many bedrooms and need to downsize. They're stuck even though they're in a 2-story home and can no longer walk up and down the stairs and need a single-story home because of that 3.25% interest rate. How many of those same homeowners today do you think actually have gone and maybe renovated their home, purchased a pool, upgraded their landscaping, bought a new vehicle, or perhaps racked up some credit card debt? Do you guys know any of those same homeowners? So what if I could show you a way that you could break those golden handcuffs from those sellers? Yes, Blanchard, yes. Getting over them being stuck from a 3.25% interest rate and actually purchasing in today's market. So I'm going to share with you what we call our debt consolidation move up purchase. In this particular scenario, our client had a 3.25% interest rate. Today's rate is 7.75, okay? They bought the home about 6 years ago, 6 to 5 years ago? 2017. Sales price was $500,000. Original loan was $400,000. Today's value, $695. Their current loan balance was $343. So putting that down there around $300,000 for equity, available equity. Go ahead and go to the next next slide for me, Beta. Oh, sorry, I did this on PDF. Okay. So this is a scenario. This is usually the first scenario that we walk through, right? So in order for them to purchase a new home, that home that they were looking at was $850,000. Most people would take the equity on that property and apply it to your new mortgage, right? How many of you think that that's a great idea? None? Nobody? Okay, good. You guys already saw this presentation. All right. So you see here that with their current, what I found out was that their current, this client also had some debt. He racked up close to, I think it was $116,000 in debt, making this payment with his current payment and then his current debt, $7,755. Go ahead to the next. So to buy this home would have cost him $2,179 more in monthly basis. That's being stuck, right? How many of your sellers would actually move out of their home today into a higher monthly payment? Nobody? Yours would? Jamal. All right. So check this out. Go to the next slide. This was a scenario where we said instead of putting all of that equity down, what if you used those net proceeds to actually pay down your debt, all of your debt, so $116,000, put a little bit less down on that property, right? Giving you a higher loan amount, but paying off all the debt. Go to the next slide, Beta. Saving you an overall $215. How many of those homeowners that are in golden handcuffs would actually consider moving based off that? Maybe this is you as a client today, right? You as a homeowner today, I cannot move out of my 3.25% interest rate, go into a 7.75% interest rate because I don't want to have that higher interest rate. How many of you are asking questions of your clients today where they are as far as their finances? Right now, consumer debt is at its all-time high. I think it's like $17 trillion in consumer debt. So could this help any of those homeowners that are stuck? Cool. Go ahead to the next slide. This is the great news. So here at Prosperity Lending, all of us have access to this tool and resource. Whether we do this for your clients based on video, whether we create these joint marketing pieces, this is Bobby Camacho out of the Green Valley office, we can put together everything that you just saw into flyers or into an actual recorded video for you guys or for your clients. How many of you would see benefit in that for your sellers today? Awesome. So you know our Prosperity Lending loan officers, myself, Jared, Jason, Gabby, Myra, Tony, Jennifer are all here to help you. If you guys want to see this or need this for any of your homeowners today, feel free to reach out to us. Any questions at all? Let's get those golden handcuffs off of our owners today, okay? Have an amazing week.
Thank you, Shelley. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what's going on for the rest of the month. We also, Saturday night, a bunch of us went to Realtor Prom, otherwise known as the Board of Realtors installation. And we ended up, I was sitting at the table with 3 award winners. In fact, this is where they give out the awards for the year. So I want to say congratulations to Keith Lynham, who won the Ron Reese Education Award for Instructor of the Year at the association. And then Chris was at my table, and Chris won the Frank Sala Marv Rubin Realtor Actives and Politics Award, which I didn't even know he was political, but I know the one requirement was you had to have been a realtor for 20 years, and Chris walked away with a huge trophy. And then our owner, Brandon Roberts, Realtor of the Year for the association. So y'all should be very, very proud of the people that you work with. The other thing I need to tell you is this weekend, Brandon, Tom, Patty, and myself are leaving for Anaheim for the, are you going, Tyson? Oh, for the NAR convention that was supposed to be in Las Vegas. But guess what? Realtor One, no, not Realtor One, F1 bumped us out. So Anaheim was gracious enough to make room for us, and we're going there. So if you need any of us that are going to be gone, we probably will not be able to answer our phones immediately, but we will return phone calls. But you have plenty of other help that's still here, so take advantage of it. Also, there will not be a newsletter next week because I'm not going to do it from Anaheim. Okay, so here's what's coming up. Immediately after the office meeting, new agent orientation. So if you are new agent to Signature, please come through our orientation. Starts at 11 right here. We're going to give you all the codes, all the scoops, everything you need to know. Okay, Wednesday, this Wednesday, tomorrow, we have Jason from Prosperity Lending who's going to be teaching a class on AI at 11 o'clock. Anything else we need to know about that, Jason? And he's going to have lunch. So, come learn all about AI and eat while Jason talks. So that's tomorrow. Do you want reservations? Okay, perfect. So, we're in the midst of post-licensing right now. Next Tuesday's office meeting will be at the Green Valley office. Wednesday, there's CE right here. And I got more pages. I'm telling you everything that's going on so that you will know. But you can also know if you read your newsletter, it's all in there. So Wednesday, November 15th from 11:30 to 1:30 will be our annual Thanksgiving feast for this office, Sun City, Sky Point, and Northwest. Y'all are all invited here. The company will furnish the meat, turkey, and the ham. Please bring a side dish to share. Please RSVP with Kyla at the front desk. And if you're in Green Valley and you can't make your Thanksgiving potluck, which will be the very next day, Thursday, same time, 11:30 to 1:30, please feel free to come here. Vice versa. If you're in any of the other West Side offices and you can't make it Wednesday, feel free to go to Green Valley. Just let them know you're coming. Okay, Tuesday, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, there will be no office meeting. Okay, moving right along. And then Thursday and Friday of Thanksgiving week, all Signature offices will be closed. One thing I skipped, Friday is Veterans Day. We are open. LVR is closed. And so are all the other state offices. So, and then, if you were on an LVR committee for the whole year, you were invited to the President's Appreciation Dinner on Thursday, November 30th at 5:30. You've all been sent an email, but it's by invitation only. So you can't go if you didn't serve on a committee. So if you want to go to a free party next year, get yourself on a committee in January. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about is Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to 12, our annual Paper and Pancakes. And if you're new to Signature, this is a client appreciation event. It's going to be at the Northwest office. Invite your clients. We'll have a shredding truck in the parking lot so you can bring all your boxes of papers in your garage and get them shredded. In fact, you can even stand there and watch them go through the shredder. Then we're going to have Santa Claus for the kids. There will be games for the kids, and we'll be serving pancakes. So that's 9 to 12, December 2nd at the Northwest office. We'd kind of like a head count. So if you invited 20 families that you've sold houses to, please let us know. These people are coming. They're not coming, so we have enough food. And that's all we have going on for the month of November so far. Okay. Now, I'd like to introduce one of the award winners that was sitting at my table Saturday night, Chris Bishop.
Thank you, Janet. Wow, I'm so humbled by this prestigious award. It was really cool. Nobody knew that it was coming. It was just an honor, and serving the membership has been the cool part about it. We have a special guest with us today that I want to bring up for just a second. We have John Sanders with Chicago, and John is the main guy over there to talk about all the things that are happening in the title industry. And so I want John to come up and tell us a little bit about what he's seen. And everyone here has heard of the crazy fraud cases that are going on, so I want John to shed some light on it. Give John a round of applause.
Good morning. It's nothing like knowing that you're going to talk roughly 30 seconds before you're supposed to do it. So again, I'm John. I'm with Chicago Title. And we all have seen the stories of fraud that are happening in our markets across the country. The one that we're seeing most often right now really pertains to land transactions. And there's a few different ways that you're seeing this, but generally it always starts because somebody is acting as if they own the property, right? They're faking a listing, they're promoting a parcel of land, they're getting out and they're talking to people, or just pushing it out there. And oftentimes it's like, hey, this deal is too good to be or too good to be true. A buyer, takes action and wants to take down this parcel of land. So they get into escrow. We start running through, and the problem, and I would challenge all of you to do this. Number one, slow down. We all want to get transactions into escrow. I understand that. Number one, slow down. Number two, always verify. Check who you're actually talking to. Are you actually talking to the real owner? Our company, along with our sister companies and many others, we all have resources that are out there that will allow you, if you take a breath, to research. You can go on Gizmo through Clark County. You can pull internal reports, property profiles. You can dig through LLCs. You can make sure that you're talking with the right person. Overwhelmingly, though, land transactions are where we're seeing the most. It's not to say that it's not prevalent in others as well. We have something we call a property summary report. It's a one-page mini prelim, and what it does is it gives you all the information that you actually need to verify what's going on with that property. If there's any red flags or even yellow flags with that property, the PSR is going to tell you, and then you can go to whomever you're talking with and just ask some pointed questions. Make them feel a little uncomfortable. Not because you want to lose the deal, but because you want to make sure that it's actually a deal and not something that's fraud. We had two of our escrow officers identify a fraudulent case that was in our kind of internal newsletter through the F&F family locally. And this particular transaction, escrow was opened up twice, dual, same time. One was with our company, one was not with our company. And it kind of talks to or speaks to how even competitors will work together to identify situations where kind of talk through, hey, I got this deal in escrow, kind of shady, things aren't quite adding up or making sense here. Can you shed some light on what you have going on? Come to find out, again, it was a fraudulent deal. So that's, I guess, one of many instances. But again, I would encourage you, slow down, do your research. If it's a deal, it'll be a good deal. But oftentimes, land deals, I tell everybody right now, if it's a land deal, the hair on the back of your neck should stand up. You should kind of pump the brakes, do your research, do some due diligence to see if it actually is a transaction. So hopefully that helps a little bit. It's not to say that there aren't other fraudulent transactions that are happening out there. Order a PSR, talk with your escrow officer, just pump the brakes.
Give John a round of applause. Thank you, man. That's pretty good on the spot of the moment. The guy's a great golfer too, so I bet he could do good on the golf course. Thanks, John. So let's talk about the NAR lawsuit. Just show of hands real quick. Who here has decided to get out of the business because of this horrible lawsuit, other than Tom? Really? You guys aren't going to quit? No. It's going to be harder. It's going to take some more time from you. You sure? See, that's basically the sentiment of everyone nationally. But is that what you hear on Inman and all of the news stations? Does it sound like the sky is falling? Like, oh my God, we're going the way of the travel agent, right? Has anyone here been a travel agent at one time? No? I mean, we're all travel agents now, right? We can all book our own travel. Here's what Dave and I are going to talk a little bit about today. So first off, this lawsuit was a class action. And the whole point of a class action is for what? Money, right? And as soon as it became a class action lawsuit, I think the majority of people involved at the National Association believed they're probably going to get something. That's why you see some major companies went ahead and settled as quickly as possible, and NAR was left kind of standing at the line saying, you know what, we really believe the way that we practice is the best for the consumer. Because if you imagine that there is no compensation offered to the buyer's agent and you're a first-time home buyer and you have to come up with the cost of that commission out of your own pocket, it could literally cost the American dream for multiple families every single day. Right? And that would be a horrific thing, not only for us in a sales industry, but for everyone. And so I think what happened is you have a jury of 12 people that said, well, yeah, I've paid a real estate commission that I wish I didn't have to pay. And yeah, they gave us some good information. And yeah, that kind of sounded good, but really none of it has caused any changes at all right now in our industry. With the appeals and everything else, this could take 8 to 10 years for it to make any residual changes in our business. So the one thing I want to tell you is don't freak out. Don't quit. Don't change your business cards, right? Don't change anything yet. And I will guarantee you that of all of the companies here in Southern Nevada, we have enough people listening and paying attention that we will let you know, over the top let you know, the minute that anything changes. Now, here's what I would be a little bit worried of. We just had a Department of Justice issue that did entrench into our business where they said, hey, listen, we're not too excited about the way that you guys do some of your practices. When the Department of Justice has an issue, changes happen in our industry. That issue actually was settled and nothing really changed. That was the one that I personally was worried about because it would have impacted every single one of us in the way that we practice every day. So when your clients are freaking out saying, well, I heard I don't have to pay you anymore. No, that's not true. But here's what you can't do. You can't go in and say, well, you got to give this money to this person. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. Every single one of you should be going into your listing appointments talking about what you personally charge and then putting the rest of it onto the seller to make an informed decision. Well, what do I have to give? It's completely optional to you. But what do you think would be fair? See, a lot of times agents are afraid to have conversations with their clients because as soon as you bring up that dirty word, commission, maybe I'm not going to get this listing anymore. The other thing I'm going to tell you is if you use a buyer-broker agreement and you have a buyer presentation and you present the value to your buyer every single time before you work with them, none of this will affect you at all. Does that make sense? So the one thing I want to make a point of, we're doing everything we can as a company to bring in as much instruction as we can on how to present a buyer-broker agreement, how to defend your value as a real estate agent, how to provide the value to the consumer. And the number one thing I hear from consumers that call in upset, my agent didn't talk to me. I can't find them. I haven't seen them. They haven't done anything. My home hasn't sold and I haven't heard from them. So across the board, everything that we ever hear is it's all about communication from you to that person. Does that make sense to everybody? Did I lose anyone? Okay. So don't freak out. Don't quit the business. Don't decide to do something else. Just keep prospecting, keep progressing, and yes, over the next 10 years, we'll probably see some changes in the way that our industry works, and hopefully with, well, not Tim, but everyone else that's there at the front lines, we'll see some changes for the better that keep us progressing. Now, there are 2 other lawsuits that are going on that are hitting different parts of the industry, and I'm sure in those cases there'll be different things that will come out, but I guarantee you this, there won't be one news agency in our industry that will share the positive side of it. So you're going to have to look for that. About 2 days or 3 days ago, I posted a video on our Agents of Signature Facebook page from Tom Ferry. And the video basically said, pay attention to what you can control, not what you can't. Can any of you control the lawsuits? What can you control? You can control yourself and your own business, right? And everyone from Tom Ferry to Mike Ferry, from every coach I've seen in the real estate industry has said the same thing. This is now the time more than ever to focus on your business and making it better and putting time into your business than worrying about all the crap that everyone else will worry about. Now, I'm going to guarantee you as well that out of 17,000 real estate agents in Southern Nevada, probably 7,000 of them are freaked out because they don't know what's going on, but they didn't know what was going on a year ago. Nothing's going to change for them, right? So that's why it's important that you stay informed. Next up, I'm going to bring up Dave Sanders to give his piece of that as well and to share with us some new venture that he has. So give Dave a round of applause.
Hello. So I like to joke that Inman is kind of like the National Enquirer of real estate because as soon as the jury verdict came down, it's been nothing but marketing from them. Like, you have to come to Inman Connect in New York City because that's going to keep you safe from this lawsuit. Buyer brokerage agreement is a really good idea. And again, Chris's timeline on what's going to happen is really true. This is a federal case out of St. Louis, or excuse me, Kansas City. So it only impacts that specific area. They're going to appeal it all the way up to the Supreme Court. That's going to take years, if not decades. And a buyer brokerage agreement is always a good idea, particularly if you're going to do a lot of new construction work. It makes your options for securing a commission at the back end a lot easier. So I would tell you that is super important. So today I'm going to talk to you about a new venture we have called Incorporation Experts. And what this business does is it helps you as a small business person, as a real estate agent, with all of the administrative requirements that you have to have for your small business. We go through and help you incorporate. We help you get an EIN number, and we walk through that. So today I'm going to kind of walk through why you want to incorporate in Nevada, pros and cons, the specific pitfalls that you're going to find that only apply to real estate that are not commonly known, that can directly impact your ability to secure a commission check. So incorporation is essentially the process of establishing a legal entity within the state of Nevada. The reason why you want to do that is because, generally speaking, if you are just running your business as a sole proprietor and yourself, liability protection, and there may be some tax issues. So if you get sued, since we've been talking about lawsuits, and you lose, they could come after your individual assets, your car, your house, your... That's Incorporation Experts calling, telling you to go to their website right now. So it's very important to understand that if you have a corporate entity in Nevada, generally speaking, your liability is going to live and die with your incorporation. If you have investor clients who are looking to purchase property, they will also be looking to incorporate that for liability and tax purposes. Now, Nevada, we offer a very strong amount of flexibility and privacy to your corporation, and we allow a lot of flexibility on how you run your business. Nevada's entities can be done for any legal business venture. Why that's important is some states require you to have a separate entities. Like say you're Tom Blanchard, who just said that he's not going to do real estate anymore. Say Tom decides he's going to change his business and wants to go into selling T-shirts. Some states would require him legally to change an organization. Nevada doesn't. Now, with real estate agents, we can talk about why it's a good idea to have two. That primarily has to do with how the division supervises and oversees the business rather than Nevada's business laws. So we'll talk about that next. If we go to the next slide, please. Okay, so there are all different types of entities that are available: partnerships, nonprofit corporations, professional entities, doctors, lawyers, called LLPs, things like that. The three that apply to real estate are the ones in bold: sole proprietors, limited liability corporations, LLCs, or corporation. Next slide, please. So This is one of the things that Nevada real estate agents need to be mindful of. That if you go to the Secretary of State's website, if you go to any competitors, they're not going to tell you this. The division's going to tell you this after you've done all this steps. So, Nevada Real Estate Division requires that your name of your entity, your LLC, must mirror exactly the name that's on your license. No other business has that requirement. If you have a gelato stand, you can name it I Love Penguins. Then as long as that name's available and it's legal, you can use it. Real estate must mirror exactly the name that's on your license. So if you've got a middle initial on your license, your LLC better mirror that. Now, here's the fun thing. If your LLC does not match the name on your license, your broker may not be able to pay you. You may not be able to get your license. This happens on a regular basis to real estate agents, where they then have to go and pay a ridiculous amount of money to the Nevada Secretary of State, which, by the way, is not exactly the fastest people in the world. If you're submitting things in, I submitted some paperwork to them in July via mail because it had to be submitted by mail. Any idea when they finally got back to me on it?
Not yet.
2 weeks ago, the end of October, okay? So that's the type of delays we're talking about. So, and again, if you go just do this on your own, or if you go to one of our competitors, they're not going to tell you this. We tell you this on our website. So, sole proprietors, this is what you are if you're a real estate licensee and you have not created an LLC, because the only way to get a Nevada business license is to be a sole proprietor. So the sole proprietor is you get all of the liability and all of the concerns that you have, because you are technically not different. So as a sole proprietor, you are personally liable for all debts, obligations, and legal issues for your business, okay? There's no protection. The other fun thing that you'll see, if you ever go to like Google Maps, because this is one of my favorite things to do, you'll see like random business names in like a neighborhood. They're sole proprietors. They have registered themselves, or we'll talk about them in a minute, they are their own resident agent, which means when your business is out there, people can find your house if you use your home address. Sole proprietors. This is probably the worst position to be in. No protection at all, and none of the fun things that we're going to talk about next. Corporations are next. Next slide, please. Corporations are primarily like companies like Apple, Target, Google. GLVAR, LVR is a corporation. They have directors and officers, all those people who went to, I guess, Realtor Prom with Janet. The installation of those people, that is a requirement because they are a corporation, okay? Upsides about a corporation are you can have shareholders, you can raise stock. Those are really good for larger businesses. For real estate agents, we don't recommend them for a couple of reasons. One, there's some taxation issues that are there because basically the corporation has to pay tax and then they pass it through to the shareholders. So there's dual taxation. And then formalities. They are far more strict on requirements. Like, for example, GLVAR has a meeting every year where you have to vote on certain things. That's required by state law. They have to have a meeting. They have to invite you. That's not just because they like you as individual members. It's also a state law requirement. The next one, please, is a limited liability corporation. Now, a limited liability corporation has all of the protections of a corporation, but much more flexibility. For example, your management can be just, we get the next slide when you get a minute, if we can. And thank you. All right, so management can be managed by its members or appointed manager. Now, if you are a real estate agent, here's another tip that they do not tell you. Typically, if you and I wanted to go into business, we can open an LLC. How many members of your real estate LLC can there be? Now, this is not state law. This is the real estate division telling you this. Any idea? Just you. So if you create an LLC and have a partner, and you go down to the real estate division, what are they going to do? They're going to kick you, and then what do you have to do? Go to the Secretary of State and fix this. Okay? Again, this is not a requirement if you're opening a different business. This is the real estate division saying this is what we want, not what Nevada business law says. Taxation is a little more flexible. We'll talk about S Corps and C Corps here in just a minute. And then formalities. They have fewer formalities. You still have to keep records, but you don't have to have shareholder meetings, for example, that corporations do. So this is primarily the vehicle that we recommend. And the other reason is it is significantly less expensive to create. A corporation, the way the Secretary of State values that, because you got to pay the government to create these, and those fees are fixed. It doesn't matter if you do it yourself, if you hire somebody, if you see somebody online that says we'll do it for $0, they're not being honest with you. The Secretary of State in Nevada charges for all of this, and it's just the way it is. For an LLC, it's $425 plus a credit card fee, because they pass that on. If you are a corporation, they base the valuation on your shareholders, on how much your stock is worth. Does anybody know what that would be for your beginning real estate business? It's why we don't recommend corporations. Why we recommend LLCs for small business people. And they're faster, easier to maintain. All right, next slide, please. So here are the pros and cons of the three. Again, sole proprietors, no liability protection. You still have to file with the government to get your state business license, which you have to be a member of GLVR, which you have to have a local business license. So you have to do most of this already. Corporations, great for liability protection. They have some complex ongoing document requirements. There are definitely business situations where you would want to be a corporation. Google's a corporation. Apple, anybody that you buy stock from on the stock exchange as a shareholder, they are all corporations. It's one of the ways you can raise revenue. Limited liability corporations, again, are primarily smaller organizations. They can be member managed. They do have to maintain the compliance requirements. They do have tax benefits, and they have lower costs. Now, they must have a resident agent. What is a resident agent, you sound? It sounds like something like James Bond. No, it is not nearly that cool. Next slide, please. A resident agent, if you are an individual and somebody wants to send you important government documents or serve you with legal documents, they come and they ask for you. Now, to protect businesses, for example, can you walk into any Apple store and say, I am suing Apple, and throw the paperwork down on the ground? They have, so to avoid those situations, they have a specific person that you designate that is designed and specifically identified to accept documents on your behalf and certain other information from the government. You have to have one if you have a corporation or an LLC. Again, so back to the Google Map example I talked about. If you pull a Google map up of your own neighborhood, you're probably going to see lots of business names random out there, because guess what? Your neighbors are running a business, they're their own resident agent, and it pops up on Google Maps. Okay? If you are your own resident agent, you have to put down typically a place to contact. So typically it might even be your home address. I don't know about you, but I don't really like having my home address out there. I don't know if I really want to have personal tax records or lawsuits served to me at my home. If you hire a professional resident agent, which is one of the services we offer, we're your resident agent. The address when we come down is in downtown Summerlin. We receive all those documents. You don't have to worry about people showing up at your house with legal documents. We also remind you annually when all this stuff is due, because it's based on 12 months from the time you incorporate. So if you incorporate in October, you had to pay it last month. If you incorporate in November, it's every November that these things are due. If you don't pay it, you go into what's called default, or your process is revoked and you don't get any of those protections. You don't have a business license. It can cause significant, severe penalties, costs, and liability. So resident agents' role is to promptly forward any documents that they receive to you. Again, you can be your own resident agent. That's absolutely fine. But again, with technology the way it is, if you want to have privacy, if you want to have it be a little more professional, because I could just type your business name into the internet and it'll pop up in a neighborhood. What do I know about you before I even show up? I know where you live, probably know where your kids could go to school. I mean, it starts to get really creepy if you think about it that way. If you hire a professional, they're going to get our business address, which is in downtown Summerlin. Where you live, where you spend your free time is private, it's kept hidden, and it's a more professional appearance to the individuals that you're working with. Next page, please. Okay, so again, you have to have a physical address and you have to pick somebody. By default, it's you. If you want to hire us to do it, If you already have a corporation already set up, we do resident agent services for about $260. We do that for a year. We will give you a 90-day, a 60-day, and a 30-day reminder of when your documents are due, and we'll provide you with any kind of important information that we receive to keep you protected and keep you private. Next page, please. Okay, so now that you've incorporated and you created, there's a couple other things that you're going to need to start your business off. The first one is what's called an EIN. Anybody know what an EIN is or can read the first bullet point on the screen? Didn't really think that through, did I? All right. It's essentially a business's social security number. You have to have one. You don't get it from the Nevada Secretary of State. You don't get it from GOVAR. You have to go to the Internal Revenue Service to get it. Okay? If you have a, now, the other thing you want to do is what? You've created a business. You want to get a business bank account, right? Well, you're going to need an EIN to do that. You're also going to need paperwork from the Secretary of State that if you hire us, we'll provide for you. We've got a checklist that we'll send you. Banks are kind of all over, but generally speaking, they're going to want an EIN. They're going to want your articles of incorporation and a few other documents from you, and of course, some money deposit in there. So that's